I'm here. I'm live. So I'm excited that I am showing up. I'm here. So let's get started. And if you like what I have to say, of course, subscribe, ring the bell, then you'll get notified every time I go live. My goal is weekly, but I think recently it's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So that's just a heads up. Anyway, let's get to the meat of the matter. Pausing in the Storm. That's the title of tonight's vlog. And the scripted part will be actually available pretty soon once I get that posted. But of course, I do the videos first. So the first question is, have you ever felt like you're an invisible yet real storm? Right? I do. Sometimes there's so many emotions or so much going on, and I just feel like the whole world is just whirling around me. What do I do? Well, it depends on the situation, but it usually starts with pushing the pause button. So what do I mean by that? Because it's not like you can pause and the whole world around you stops, freezes. You can rearrange people, think through things, do a checklist, just like they show on TV. Um, but the one of the things I learned as a teacher was to equip students with a metaphorical pause button to gain emotional control. And then I became skilled at implementing them for myself, because when you teach something, you learn it so much better. And these are the ones in this vlog, the ones that I use for depending on the emotional state. So what I call my level 1 pause buttons. That's just catching myself as my energy and my emotions start to rise and they start creating a traffic jam. It's like noticing the wind is picking up or the air is getting colder right before a storm. And most often my pause button in this situation looks like a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, but like a straw. And then you repeat. Boy, that was really calming, actually. I'm glad I did it. And then a Hail Mary. So the prayer is, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. And so that's a good pause button. Another thing I do is touch my fingertips one at a time to my thumb while taking deep breaths. And sometimes I've just needed to turn around, count to 10, and try again. And it just helps me refocus what I want to focus on. So those are level ones. Like I said, those are the ones that are meant for um, just as the energy is starting to creep up and you're noticing it. My level 2 pause button takes on a bit more substance, both mentally and physically. Level 2 is like when the wind continues to increase and the air gets cold and the rain starts to fall. That's what it mentally starts feeling like to me. And it can be manageable because I can still see the other side. So if I was looking through a storm at a rainstorm actually out across my yard, I would still be able to see my fence. So that's kind of where we are in imagery of where the mental emotional storm is at. During these times, I will list what is going on, what needs my attention, and what I need to complete. Sometimes it's a mental list, and sometimes it's a written list. Most often, it has to be written out for me because otherwise my brain is using the RAM to remember what needs to happen. And so once I write that list out, the overwhelm starts to dissipate and I start to feel better. And the written list also gives me a visual of what needs to happen. And then I can also prioritize what what is on my list and what needs to happen. And a great book that I read a long time ago is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Powerful Lessons in Personal Change by Stephen Covey. And he helps people categorize the tasks that need to be done. So he says urgent and important, not urgent yet important, um, not urgent but important. Oh yeah, urgent, important. So those are the ones that have to get done like now. Then there's the not urgent yet important tasks. And those are ones that need to get done, but they can wait, right? Then there's the urgent, not important. So it's usually somebody else's task that you need to be a part of. And so it's not really important to your main line of things, but you have to help with it. Like homework, for example, is not that important to me, but it is important to my kids, right? And it's urgent because it has to be done tonight. And then there's the not urgent nor important group, which is like surfing the web or Facebook scrolling or whatever, right? And so those are those kinds of things that need to happen. And so you take that whole list of things that you just brain dumped and you categorize them to help your brain gain control. I've been doing this so long that it's natural to me. However, it was really good to just go back and refresh myself on what these really are. And so I might just do that as another blog post later. So and go into more detail. So this second level method helps me put priorities into perspective. Now my third level of storm at this stage, it's like a hard rain where you can't really see clearly. You can still see, but it's not clear anymore, right? Your windshield's getting drenched. You are guessing at where the road is at. You probably should be pulling over at this time, right? There might even be a bit of hail. And when my emotions are this kind of a storm, when the overwhelm is this kind of a storm, it's really task oriented. For example, it's like, let me fill the water filter, then I can fill the tea kettle, then I can fill the water dish. I do not prioritize these tasks. My brain can't function on that level anymore. And so, just like I can make the bed, I can put the covers on. It's just simple task after task, literally step by step of things that you're like, oh, yeah, I can do this normally. But this is something that you're like, yep, I need to A, B, C. And I just repeat those words and do the jobs as I am able. And I'm doing the best I can. They're a way to keep my mind engaged as the thinking and logic part has started to check out, right? And if I know me, when I hit this pause button, I am feeling super overwhelmed and I'm mitigating myself to avoid a panic attack and a total shutdown. Which leads me into level 4. Oh no, my computer. Oh, good. I'm like, oh no, my computer just like blanked out. My computer, I was afraid, was doing a total shutdown. Um, and it was feeling my energy, I guess. So, like I said, my level 4 is I've done all those other things, most likely. This is my most extreme pause button. And I don't need it as much anymore because I've gotten better at doing the other ones to hijack the panic, I guess. So anyway, so when I'm in this mode, I am most often on the floor, probably in a rocking and in a ball kind of situation. You can see I'm like starting to rock. This is actually not my table rocking, but this is me actually rocking as I'm thinking about the energy of where I'm at. I've also had to go to a different room because I ended up in a panic attack during the middle of a talk. And I don't know why I ended up in a panic attack, but I did. And so they're kind of scary. And so the reason that they kick in that I figured out after thinking about them is that my anxiety has kicked in so high. And so my body has gone into crisis mode. And this is when the storm is most destructive, this emotional storm. It's like the winds are howling and whipping and the rain, and I can't even see the hand in front of my face if I were to go like this, right? And when I'm in this pause button, I have tuned out everything else around me. And I'm thinking out loud, literally. Sometimes it's a whisper because I'm embarrassed and I know there are other people around me, but I say the words audibly because it helps my brain come back online. So this pause button, a good one that I actually can coach it better than I can actually do it for myself, but it's the five senses one. So I can see five things, I can feel four things, I can um, hear three things, I can smell two things, and I can taste one thing. And so this pause button, like I said, is easier for me to coach than actually do. I have done it with myself before. But an alternative to this exercise really is repeating basic facts that I know. I could be listing my name, my birthday, my relationship to other people, telling myself it's okay and I am safe. And I'm breathing, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And once the panic is under control, my thinking brain starts to kick back in. And then we can start climbing out of this hole that we're in. We, me, myself, and I guess is the we. The one that I'm in, the hole I'm in. And that's when I start using the other ones that I described before to move me forward. And so I first tell myself to breathe because that's a big deal. You normally are breathing on your own, but when I am in this space, I need to tell myself to breathe. I'm telling myself to do things I usually do without thinking. I figure out what I can do, accomplish something, brush my teeth, make tea, anything that's simple. I do it because I need that dopamine hit of feeling successful. I actually saw a really great um, post from somebody. I think she's a counselor, but it talked about the different hormones and dopamine. Of course, you need to feel better to feel successful. Or when you are successful, that's what triggers. Anyway, so where was I at? Oh, yeah. So then I get to the point where I'm back at the task, probably that might have caused the overwhelm, but in a different space. Um, and so I gain executive function. And after I've done my task, I analyze the situation, discover where and why things went haywire. What was the trigger? And what caused me to feel out of control? What can I change for next time? And the goal of this exercise, this analyzing, is the same every time. Do better, be better. And so then I'm like, okay, now I have a plan in case something like this happens again. Um, the Before I went to publish this, actually on Monday, is mindset coach Heather Schroeder Harbo reminded me how to pause in the storm before it becomes a major storm. And so even before the wind starts to pick up. And one of the biggest mitigators for storms, anxiety storms, depression storms, high emotional storms, is gratitude. Yep. The simple thought of being thankful for what one does have or what one can do will help mitigate the storms, the emotional storms, and lessen their intensity. It kind of works like the list that I mentioned above. That morning I heard from her, she dove deeper into the idea of being grateful. She said that every night a person should write down 10 things that he or she is thankful for or grateful for. And she said it was okay to start with the basics or obtuse, what I would call obtuse gratitude, like thank you for my house, I'm thankful for my children, I'm thankful for this. But really, after the first couple of those, you really should start digging deeper into your gratitude statements if you're able. And so some of her examples were, I'm grateful for my eyes to see. I'm thankful that I can see the shades of blue on the wall. I'm grateful to notice the shadow and the light. And so those are the kinds of things that she was talking about, being more acute in the gratitude statements versus the obtuse gratitude statements, right? Um, she then mentioned that a person should, um, gratitude statements should, some of them should be inward, so to affirm one's own worth. And that was a big deal for me the week before, is really taking ownership of my own value and my own worth, because I had realized I had given it away. And so she recommended for this gratitude exercise is 1000 Gifts. So that's the book that she recommended. It's called 1000 Gifts, A Dare to the Fully Right Where You Are by Ann Boskamp. And she also recommended another alternate activity of writing in a gratitude journal, which would have writing prompts for daily journaling activities. So that kind of gets you a little bit more creative instead of your humdrum list. If once you've practiced the list for a while, excuse me, or just like, dude, I am not a list person. And so that gives you a little bit more freedom to do. So, of course, storms in life happen just like the real storms. They happen, so do your emotional storms. They happen in a variety of intensities. Some storms, like a drizzly day, can be managed by gratitude exercises and self awareness. Some storms, like a cold, soft shower, can be managed by prioritizing tasks and reminding oneself of who is in control. Sometimes it's you, and sometimes it's God, just as a heads up. Some storms, like a downfall, need to be a more basic intervention of telling oneself an order of operations, just like I said with my tea making. Some storms are like a hurricane, like a person, they will take down a person below the most basic functioning capabilities. And that's when the mind is shut down and the person needs to stop looking at the storm and focus on what he or she can control and understand who really is in charge. So again, that's a God is really in charge kind of statement. And if you think about that, the imagery when I wrote that came to mind after I wrote it was actually Peter, right? So he's in the storm and he's like, dude, God, Jesus, the storm, hello. And Jesus says, stop looking at the storm and just look at me. And so that's just what reminded me of that. And of course, that is a total big paraphrase of the Bible story, but I think you'll just appreciate that. And that's how, with our mental storms, we need to remember that God is in control, and a person can stand strong in the storm as long as he or she is focused on um, what they need to focus and not focus on the storm. And focus so you can walk on the calm waters and move on with life. So those are tonight's blog lessons, and I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.